Welcome to Depression Proof Your Life Live, a space for honest conversations about mental health, mental wellness, recovery, and resilience. Here, we explore how communication, environment, and mindset work together to move us from silence to strength. I'm Marian Mills, and I created DPYL out of my own journey through mental illness, addiction, and recovery. These conversations are about breaking stigma, finding support, and reminding you that you are not alone. If tonight's conversation brings up heavy emotions for you, please step away and reach out for support. Call or text 988 or call 911. Let's begin. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here at Depression Proof Your Life Live. Please join me in welcoming my guest this evening, Jennifer Green. She is a family services supervisor with the City of Richmond, where she has served for 18 years. She is a proud HBCU graduate of the Virginia State University with a bachelor's degree in sociology and a minor in social work. She's deeply passionate about supporting parents of adolescents and teens facing mental health challenges, starting with her own journey as a mother of two wonderful children, 19-year-old Monty and her 23-year-old son, Ant, who is a recent graduate who followed in his mom's footsteps with a double major. And he has a bachelor's in business administration and in IT. And he's a successful recording artist. She advocates for families and connects them with services with meaningful resources that foster healing and growth. Jennifer Green, welcome to the show.
Hello. I'm good. How are you?
I am wonderful. I am so honored to have you on the show. Like, I really am. You know how I feel about you. But yeah, I'm extremely happy to have you here because I used to pick your brain all the time when we worked together. Anytime I had the opportunity to talk to you, so to actually have you on this platform, actually sharing your personal experience through something that was, very devastating for you and very difficult for you. So I'm really happy about that. So before we get into the questions, I always like to remind people, I guess, of how we met, for my guests as well as for the people that are watching. So I remember that I guess I still had to be pretty new. I'm not really sure exactly how new I was, but I remember I was so new in CPS that I still needed to go out with a specialist. And I had walked around, I needed to go out, and I was walking around trying to find a specialist, that I had been working with before. None were to be found. I was like, Jennifer's in her office. Like I had seen you around, and I knew that you were like a boss, but but I was nervous so I timidly was like, Jennifer, I have a case. You were like, let's go. I was like, okay. Jennifer, it was really life-changing for me because I had gone out with some people that, I guess had been in the field or been in CPS for quite some time. And, was jaded, I guess. I guess it's fair to say, right? Yeah. It's fair. I will never forget your words to this mother. And I probably kind of gave a look like, but I will never forget. You read the report, you talked to her, and as she was explaining herself, you said, "Oh, I feel you." I was like, she talked to him like that, like, I feel you. Like, and that was life-changing for me. Like it really was. So I appreciate you and have respected you since day one and always will.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So just to let everyone know, welcome everyone from LinkedIn and welcome everyone that is joining us from YouTube. I will be checking the chat from time to time. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to drop them in. So let's get started with our question. So before I ask your first question, I just have to say that the last time I remember seeing Monty was she had like a dance recital or something. And I remember her if I'm not mistaken, it was like black and white, no, black and pink. It was like
Yeah.
black little
Mhm.
outfit. Had a whole group of girls performing. I remember her, her dad was there. Really nice time. And then and it seems like the next time I was, checking in, just asking you how she was doing, you were telling me about, some of the struggles that she was having. So what were some of the first signs that Mani was not herself? Uh, and tell us what your journey was like for both of you, and what she was eventually diagnosed with and when.
Okay. So that's definitely a complex.
It
So
is, yes, definitely.
I'll start from the beginning. So I
Yeah.
started noticing she was isolating herself in her room a lot. Normal teenagers, they isolate. They don't want to be bothered with you. They go to their room, and want to be by themselves. But it was a lot. Um, she did it very, I would say, quiet, which was not Monty. Monty's
Hmm.
never been quiet. She's always
Yeah.
been my little firecracker. Just the
Yes.
total opposite of what her mood was. And wasn't really interested in doing anything, very angry, just total, just change.
Yeah.
Um, and of course, it was in the throes of COVID also happening
Oh wow.
and
Okay.
shutting everything down.
Yeah.
And her having to be isolated even more because she can't be around anybody because we couldn't go outside.
Yeah.
So COVID, I would say, has been I hate COVID for so many different reasons, but
Yeah.
that was the main one.
Yeah.
So it was just trying to get her through that. And then while in the middle of COVID, while we were also going through all of that, my 14-year-old brother committed suicide. And then my father passed away. Um,
Oh, Jennifer, I'm so
so
sorry. I did not know
yeah,
that.
it was so much in one ball. And then it was just like it was stuff on top of stuff on top of stuff on top of stuff. So trying to dig myself out of that as well as trying to be there for her was definitely a journey. It was a journey. And of course, as a mom, you always blame yourself because it's like certain things. Like at one point, she was a cutter.
Oh,
So I was trying to handle it all on my own because hey, I'm a social worker. I
of
got this,
course. Yeah.
you know.
Hmm.
But you don't also realize, even as being a social worker or being someone that is actually in the throes of helping other people, when you're in the middle of it,
Hmm.
sometimes you also have to reach out for help,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So prior to, of course, me reaching out for help, I'm blaming myself because I should be able to do this. I am a strong Black mama. I got this.
Yeah.
I needed to reach out. And it came one day when I literally, and all the time, I looked at Monty one day and I said, I hadn't slept for about a week straight
Yeah.
because I had to watch her because it was more so I knew the depression level that she was on. I knew that she had suicidal ideations. I knew that she was cutting. It was a lot. And I said, if I couldn't stay awake any longer. And I said, Monty, if I go to sleep tonight, are you going to be here when I wake up in the morning? And
Oh.
she looked at me and said, I don't know.
Oh. Oh. Wait a minute. Mm.
Yeah. So that was the
Oh,
start of, and of course I could talk
I'm so
about it now
sorry.
because it was
I
a
was
lot. It's
right expecting
okay.
that. I'm
Okay.
so sorry. Mm.
That was the beginning of, so that was her for acute hospitalization.
Yeah.
And I cried like a baby because my baby was going somewhere. I could not protect her. I didn't know what was going on. Got people
Yeah.
taking care of her that have never taken care of her. I don't even use babysitters. You understand? So it's
Yeah.
like,
Right. Yeah. Right.
and that was just the beginning of, our trials and her getting help and just having someone there that was able to kind of watch what was going on
Yeah.
with her so that I had other eyes on her other than myself.
Mm. Mm-mm-mm. Wow.
Yeah.
Whew. Wow. I'm so sorry, Jennifer. I did not realize that, and I'm glad that you touched on, you're a social worker, you should be able to do this, because I believe that during the time that we were talking and you were telling me, oh, Monty's in the hospital. Again, you were always yourself, always smiling, always, Jennifer, so I did not realize that it was, I did not realize that. Wow. Um, but that you touched on a very important part. Um, it's good that you asked the question. That is the one of the strongest elements of why I created this platform. Um, Conversation is important. Talking about it is extremely important, because if you had not asked that question, there's no telling, what the trajectory of things, how it would have could have said, Jen, your strength is unmatched. I definitely agree. Yeah, definitely agree. So wow. So how long did it take them to actually diagnose her with something? And what was it ultimately?
I think after numerous acute hospitalizations, which I
Yeah.
will say completely that our mental health system as far as kids is broken.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
broken.
Yeah.
I would say when we finally kind of had a complete idea of what was going on was with her residential stay, where she stayed for 6 months, and that was at Poplar Springs.
Oh wow. Okay. So yeah,
And that was a transition itself,
right. Yeah,
but
of course.
she stayed at Poplar Springs for 6 months, and they did a psychological and all of that.
Yeah.
And that's when we kind of got an idea. And it was more so, of course, major depression at the time. It was, of course, ADHD, which she's had, that's my little
Yes.
firecracker. I call it
Yes.
her superpower, which it is,
Yes. Yeah.
and PTSD. So those
Mhm.
were the three things that she was kind of battling with at the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. And that's why I asked the question, because of what you said in the beginning of your answer. I know that the system is broken. Of course, being in CPS, I saw so many parents literally fighting, for services, and where their children were returned home, and they were like, they're still
Yeah.
doing, we're still having this issue. They're still after their sibling or whatever it may be. Um, so I appreciate you for actually sharing that. Um, mm,
I
um,
remember one time, for instance,
mhm,
I was at MCV. I had went there because there had been different, acute hospitalizations. We've done Tucker's, all of that,
yeah.
which I kind of feel, and of course, this is my opinion, that was a glorified babysitting for the most part.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get her help. I didn't want her to keep going through the same cycle. So
Yes.
I went
Yes.
to MCV because I heard they had, BTCC. So I'm like, well, let's try that.
Hmm.
Went to MCV. MCV. Long story short, placed Kimani in an ECO. Basically took custody from me under protective order, and held her because we were in the emergency room, I would say, for about 4 days because they couldn't find a hospital bed.
Right.
At that point, I'm like, I can go home. Like, I feel like the hospital is triggering her even more. You have
Yes.
people coming in and out. There's all kinds of things happening. I
Yeah.
can take her home. We can devise a safety plan. If something does become available, I can bring her, but I feel safer
That's
with
right.
her home because I'm in the hospital with her. I'm not leaving her,
Yeah, that's right.
So they were like, no, you can't do that. You have to wait for a bed. So I'm like, you know,
Right. Because by law, once they put that in place, it's like they can't have you. Yeah. Because I've
yeah,
been there where it's like, oh, I want to go home. I got to take care of my dog. And they were like,
yeah,
I can't let you leave. Right. So,
yeah.
so
So, that scenario was like aggravating and eye-opening.
mm,
And then, once we got to the part where they do the whole assessment to see if she needed to stay or if there's something that I can do, I
mhm.
remember the woman from RBHA asking me, she said, "What did you say your name was?"
She recognized your name. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But that
And
was a blessing,
yeah.
wasn't it? It was a blessing, wasn't it?
Yes, because a
Yeah.
whole lot of stuff started moving. Everybody became
That's
all of a
right.
sudden nicer.
Yeah.
Everybody, and she was
Mm,
released to me and we went home. But everybody does not have that same,
mm,
and
tell.
everybody doesn't have that same opportunity to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm definitely a big advocate when it comes to our clients and the people that we serve and advocating for themselves and also being able to, like know what their rights are, I would say. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And as soon as you said the way you said, what'd you say your name was again? It was like, oh yeah, I recognize that name. And again, it is, and I remember I tried to pull that card when I one of my last hospitalizations. Matter of fact, I did this recently. I got the Jennifer cut, but
I'm going to get my charger. I'm not going anywhere.
Oh no, you're fine. Yeah. But yeah, I remember I told the doctor, I was like, I first of all, I came in by myself knowing that I needed help, right? I was thinking that I was going to get help and then go back home. I said, I know that I need help. I'm going to come back. I just want to go make a plan for my dog. That's all.
Exactly. Something
like I'm a social worker. I was like, I'm a social worker. I know that. And they were like, well, you know that we can't release you then. You know that.
Yes.
And I was like, well, you want to have somebody come follow me or, but yeah, so, but yeah, like you said, but I think that it's a blessing when we as people in the helping profession, no matter how we experience it,
Yeah, I do.
I believe that it's important for us to understand what our clients go through because it does help us have more compassion for what they go through, how long they have to wait for services. Or I'll never forget, I actually went with a client. I can't remember where we went, but we went and it was just wait and wait and wait. When you went up to the, no one would talk to you. Yes. So, and I certainly understood in that moment. It was like, I see why some clients are like, yeah, I went, but I was never seen. So I went home.
Exactly.
I just left.
Yeah. I understand completely.
Yeah, definitely.
This charger is going to give me the business.
So you touched on one of my other questions, but my next question, which was, when a child is struggling emotionally or acting out, it can trigger a lot of guilt or self-blame from a parent. And you touched on that. How did you manage those feelings though?
So I would definitely say, okay, finally we have the charger. Okay. Mm-hmm. I would definitely say, because I'm a very private person, a lot of people did not know what I was going through.
Of course. Yeah.
There were times when I pretty much was sitting on the couch, and there were days where I literally would get up from the couch, go to the bathroom, get something to eat, come back on the couch, curled up in a ball. Yeah. Because I'm literally at home blaming myself, like, how can you fail at this? You're a mom, like you cannot fail.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it definitely was a people. My sister, for one, definitely very, very. But people that are in my circle that were very close, that kind of checked on me, like, hey, you okay? What's going on? You're kind of quiet, Mm-hmm. And then just therapy. I found a therapist and I dug myself out, and hearing someone else say it's not your fault, hearing someone else say you're still a good mom. This is just another part of this is an avenue that you haven't explored yet, that you have to go through, and you got it, Mm-hmm. So that definitely helped. And then of course her coming out and the network of people that I have surrounding her, which have been, when I say awesome, like, like texting, calling, talking, like anything that I needed, they were right there. And that's very important to have those people around you, as far as like therapists, psychiatrists.
So when you say coming out, what do you mean?
When she came out of,
but for the people that are watching,
I'm sorry. So when
that's all right.
When she comes out of her acute stays, when she came out of her residential, because that's a transition in itself. You're 6 months, someone, it's like this for 6 months, and whatever other craziness is going on in there, because we have to also look at your kids picking up other behaviors when they go into
that's right. Absolutely. Yep.
So all of that, but then coming home and having a team surrounding us that pretty much were like, this is how it's going to go. Or if I have a question about something. And the biggest part of it and being a parent is you have a child with mental health. How do you parent this? Is this a
Mm,
behavior or is
that's
this mental
good.
health?
Yeah.
You have to use discipline, but then you can't trigger them,
That's
you
good,
know?
Jennifer.
So
Yeah.
then I also had to figure out a different way to parent. So I had to utilize someone else to help me as far as what does that look like? What part is mental health? What part is manipulation? What part is, because you still have a teenager in the middle of all of this.
Yes. Yes.
And teenagers have their own behavior. So that's on
Right.
top. Like it was a lot. It was a lot. It
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, wow. Yeah. Yeah. See, this is why you talking about this is just so good because of how real you are. Like you're so real that you're going to talk about like, yes, this was hard. And like you said, you have to be mindful of making sure you're not triggering your child, but I can't let you run amok either. And
Exactly.
so it's like,
Exactly.
yeah. It sounds like it was a very fine line, but of course, as you say, supports are extremely important. How much of your own at that point, once you got out, what part or how much of your own professional knowledge helped in managing everything that you had to manage?
So I guess with the professional part of it came in as far as knowing what worked, as far as agencies or different things that worked versus what didn't work, and
Okay.
having kind of like inside knowledge of that part helps me
Okay.
professionally.
Mhm.
Knowing what my rights are, because of course I know policy. I've been doing policy for 18
Yes.
years.
Yes. Yeah.
So there was a clause or something within the policy of, so school became an issue. School is a trigger. She was 16. Because of her behaviors in school, they moved her to different schools.
Right.
Henrico County kind of likes to, kind of get rid of the kids they deem as not acting accordingly.
Yes.
So the move was to an alternative school. The alternative school I did not feel was a good fit because it's kind of like a catch-all.
Yeah.
You're not educating from a place of a child having emotional issues going on compared to a child that's just,
Trying and
committing
just
criminal acts.
acting out. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So of course, with that came a whole nother thing. But in the meantime of that, when I realized it was a lot, when we had issues in regards to, Monty running away or leaving the home and things of that nature, because it kind of, transitioned.
Yeah.
I was able to tell her GAL at the time, like, hey, there's a policy in your own policy where the judge can give permission for a child under the age of 18 to get a GED.
I know that's right.
And he said, there is? And I said, yes. And I sent it to him. And he put it in front of the judge and said, this is, and the judge gave her permission to do her GED at the age of 16. So I know there's different, things that are available. So I would say that's what, yeah. I was an advocate.
I'm sorry, I can just see this here like it is.
He did. He said, you taught me something. I said, well, but yeah, you have to be an advocate. You have to, I always say, even now, on my professional side, I'm seeing a lot of parents filing what we know as, relief of custody, things of that nature, because they become so overwhelmed.
Yeah. Yeah.
But just know, like, sometimes you gotta 10 toes deep with your child, like you rolling up your sleeves. We're in this together. Like, I don't feel that it's easy, because I understand there's some situations where if a child becomes a danger to you or your household, I understand completely. Yeah. But in certain situations, yes, it's hard. But I will tell you, just even from my own experience, there is a whole nother side. If you stay in there and every time they go to the left, you go to the left with them. They go to the right, you go to the right with them. But every time, I know I got on Monty's nerves. I know I did, and I was like, you hate me right now, but you're going to thank me for this later. Like, we're going to go through this, and it gets better. It does get better.
Jennifer, staying on that point, can you touch a little bit more on like you said, they go to the left, you go to the left with them. Can you touch on how a parent can do that when they're battling their own mental illness? And I'm
Absolutely.
not, yeah,
So I would say, like, for me, it was in that moment, situational depression. So it's more so because of what I was going through, me
that's right.
beating myself up, the thoughts that's in my head. I'm the horrible mom. How can I
Mhm.
fail at this? Um, it's having the people behind you. You have to find a support system. And if that is in the form of a therapist, it's good. You have to reach out on your own. Your child is getting help. You have to get help as well.
Mhm.
Because there's going to be things that you're battling against. There's going to be things that you're thinking that you pretty much have to, quiet those negative thoughts in your head and talk to someone and get it out. Someone that doesn't know you, that can't judge
Yes.
you, that's going to hear it for what it is and give it right back to you and make you think about it in a different way.
Yeah.
So you have that support there. You have the support of whatever team is working with your child, whether that's in home, an in-home agency, whether that's their therapist, whether that's a psychiatrist. No, I don't need to know what you guys are talking about, but what are some things that you can help me with
Mhm.
dealing with this?
Mhm.
And actually doing it, not just hearing it, but actually being able to do it.
Yeah.
So you have to put the work in. And, every time, for instance, like there was a time, when she's leaving the home, she's running away. I'm filing the reports. I'm in my car. I'm going where she's at. I'm popping up. I learned, from the police, no, you can't make her get in the car in front of her. So I know there's a whole nother thing. You can't tell her she can't leave the home if she wants to leave the home. The only thing
I'm
they
sorry,
have
the
to
police told you this?
yes, in front of her. There is yes, while it's okay for you to have a curfew in your home, the only curfew they have to follow is the curfew of the county or city that they are living in. So you can say in your mind that you want, your child to be home at 9 p.m. The law is that children under 18 cannot be outside after 11. That's what's
Right.
enforced.
Right.
So they can't enforce your personal household. So you learn to move around that as well.
Yeah.
Of course, it's having, the level of respect. Because like I say, no matter what we went through, Monty has never called me out of my name. Monty has never tried to physically fight me or anything to that nature. So there was always a respect there.
Yeah.
But I just think it was just a battle of her trying to get away from whatever was going on by whatever means necessary,
Mhm. Yeah.
So battling that with her, but then also while doing all that, getting up and going to work in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Having to take care of a household, having to
Yeah.
do all of that. So you kind of learn how to compartmentalize. You put stuff where it goes.
Yeah.
You deal with it in that moment. This is here. This is crazy right here. My child is somewhere. I don't know where she's at, but I'm at work and I'm handling this over here, but this over here. But I've also realized faith became so strong because it was more so I have to give it to God.
Yeah.
And pray that she'll be okay.
Yeah.
But I still have to continue because if I let all of this drop over here, there's nothing for her to come home to. So it was a process.
That's deep and heavy. Like you just saying those words is just with so many parents, single parents, single parent homes, as well as even, like I'm battling, when I shared why I created Depression Proof Your Life, it came out of my own mental health, in and out of psychiatric hospitals for 10 years, battling alcoholism for over 30 years. When I posted it and said that it was, about mental health and recovery, but then I was like, but life is just a struggle sometimes, even
Life
if
is
you've never
life.
been diagnosed, right?
Yes.
Life is like, so it's like whether you even, so it's just open to anyone that is like, and you just hit the nail on the head. It's like, I'm struggling here, but I have to, you know what? Straw. You saw the movie Straw, right?
Mm-hmm. And I understood.
Right. I did too. Like, and I thought that that was such a great depiction of a
Absolutely.
mental breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're just going through the motions, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so thank you so much for again just being so honest and real about like I have to go to work. I can't run around and try to find her, when I'm supposed to be at work. I
And
let
let's
go and
not
let
forget,
God.
I'm also raising a son.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
she's
And
not
I
the
was
only
gonna.
child in the household, you know?
Yeah. So
So
so yeah.
yeah.
So that was another question that I was gonna ask. Because I can't really remember, but of course, I'm trying not to ask questions out of what I know. Was was Aunt still in the house? Because I know that he's older than she is. So I believe. Can you kind of touch on how it affected him? If it, what that
Absolutely.
looked like? Because yeah, I'm sure that that was yeah.
Absolutely. So I would say it definitely affected him. But of course, COVID was also affecting him as well because he didn't get to walk across the stage. It robbed him of his graduation.
Mhm,
It robbed him of his last year of high school.
mhm.
That's when he started tapping into, because I was like, you have to find an outlet because it was just so much energy, and that's where the music came from.
Where the music came from. Okay.
But at the same time, he's now leaving to go off to college, which is another layer of, and then
Yeah.
my daughter's feeling lost because even though they may bump heads,
Right. Yeah. That. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
that's her
Yeah.
brother. That's
Yeah.
him, them together.
Mhm,
So he
mhm.
left. So it's just me and her.
Yeah.
Um, so he was dealing with it, but I also kept a lot from him because
Of
I
course.
didn't want him worried while he's in
Like it's,
school. He's
yeah.
in North
Let him
Carolina. I
enjoy
want
it
him
as much
to
as possible, right?
enjoy your college life. You're not going to have this time back.
Yeah.
This is your time, so he would understand little tidbits. Like if something was major, I would let him know. But for the most part, he didn't know a whole lot,
Yeah.
As time went on, he started being like, Mom, like, what's going on,
Yeah.
but yeah, I kept a lot from him, especially that first year, because that's your freshman year. You're like, you're getting integrated, you're doing all this. So I'm like, I got it.
Good for you. And when I heard some of his, I think one of the first songs that you played, and forgive me, I don't remember the name of it, but because I knew what was happening, I was like, oh yeah, that's he's just releasing, all
Yeah.
of yeah, yeah. So good for first of all, you of course um telling him that he needed an outlet, and him finding that yeah, so that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Um so if you could walk us through what it was like um, without the support and understanding of her father, of Monty's father, because if I remember correctly, there were times that you actually had to undo a lot of work that had been done because of his beliefs or opposing beliefs and views on mental health, her getting help, gender roles, sexuality, identity, all of those different things. So could you touch on how what that was like and how you even managed that?
Yeah. So that was another. That's why I said it's compartmentalized.
Yes,
There's
exactly.
so
Yeah.
many different categories. That was another because it's more so I'm making excuses for her behavior. And I would say, to his, now we are in definitely a better place. He understands we're on the same page. He got it.
That's good.
Back then it was, that I'm making excuses for her behavior, that I'm not utilizing enough discipline. This is when the behaviors are starting to manifest.
Mhm.
Um, as far as her sexuality is concerned, you know, I am being okay with it, so it's more so like I'm kind of being the easy parent.
Oh, okay.
And by all means, if you talk to my kids, they would tell you, no, yes, I am the nurturer, but at the same time, no.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So
Right.
so kind of
Mama
like
don't play. Mama
anything.
don't play.
Exactly. So anything that did not serve her in that time and what we were going through, I had to kind of put it to the side because that was another distraction.
Yeah.
So it was more so like, you can say what you want, have your own opinions, whatever. My focus is my daughter, and that's it. Of course, my son. But in that moment, as far as dealing with her mental health, When it's her focus, it's her focus. You know, when it's my kids' focus, everybody knows I do not play about my kids whatsoever.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And I've always been like that. So I don't care what other people's opinions are. I know I have to figure out what's best for her. So it was hearing that and knowing that on this side and hearing the negativity and kind of sheltering her from that and letting her know, you know, like your sexuality doesn't make you who you are.
Yeah.
You can love whoever you want to love. I have nothing to do with that. Who you love is not going to hurt me. It's none of my business. That is you. By all means, we went to a pride event together. So I had her out. We went, I think it was at Browns Island. We went together and we had a ball. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't care. Like, love is love. That's how I feel. You know, I'm very non-judgmental. So
yeah,
whatever makes you happy makes you happy. We have to make sure it's something making you happy, something that's not hurting you. You
That's
know,
right.
no matter what that love looks like, it can't be a love that hurts you at the end of the day. You know, so yeah.
Oh, this is good. Because you're just touching on so many different things, and of course you, like you said, that's who you are as a person, as a mother. Like I'm not, and you know, like I said, as a person, you're not judgmental. You know, it's like it's you do you. That's I think you used to even say that to some of your clients, like you do you. You know, as long as you don't do that. You know whatever. But you're touching on so many different things that are going to resonate with so many different families. And I know before I left CPS, some of the things I had a lot of cases, especially when I went to Northern Virginia. There were so many cases where parents were against it, had their opinions and it's against their faith. And it's like, but it was very difficult to get parents to let go of that belief that they had, whether it was a religious belief or you ain't gonna do that in my house. It's like, but I remember, I'll never forget, this father told me, you can't make me accept it. I said, I'm not trying to get you to accept it. I'm just trying to get you to accept your child. Like accept that this is something that they're battling with, because it is a battle, especially with them being so young.
Monty battled with it because it's the one side of, if you're, her father's Christian. So it's one side of, if you're Christian, you're not supposed to be gay. It's bad. This and that, you're going to hell, all of this, that's playing in her head. But at the same time, she knows who she's attracted to. Yeah. So it's like, what?
And how do I stop myself from liking who I like?
Exactly. And mind you, the first time she came out to me, she was actually 6 or 7 at that time.
No, are you serious?
So how she remembered, and we both have different takes on that moment, mind you. So she told me, she was finding a girl in the playground that was, attractive or whatever. And I'm like, oh, this is me being mom. At 6 or 7, you don't know if you like monkeys, cats, dogs, nothing. Like, just play on the playground. Like, you should, when you're later on, when you grow up, you tell me. But in her mind, she felt that she was coming out to me, and I shut her down. So that was a conversation that we had to have later on, where I had to explain it to her. That was not my intention. If Anthony would have came and told me that he liked the girl at the playground or what, I would have told him the same thing. He's 6 or 7. I said, I had nothing to do with who you were liking. It was just, I needed you to just be a child,
be a kid, right? Just be a kid.
Yes. So, but she felt that at that time. So she was even more so bottled up in me not knowing that I was shutting her down from her coming out of the closet. That was not my intention. But sometimes I've learned that people interpret things differently. You may think you have an intention on saying something, but it may not come across that way, so they're internalizing and thinking something totally different. And that was not your intention at all. So that's also been a learning process with this parenting thing. It really has.
No, that's good, Jennifer. Perception is everything. And that's why, anytime I worked with clients, I got to the habit of, and I used to get in trouble all the time with spending too much time with clients, but I would talk to the parent first, tell them about, whatever the report is, get their take on what's going on, talk to the child, and then I would talk to them together, especially if it was like a, adolescent. And 9 times out of 10, it was just like, oh, I didn't know you felt that way. I didn't, it's, and it's like, just conversation, just talking and understanding, and not wanting to, I understand you're the parent, but this is an individual that you're raising to be eventually out on
Another
their own.
individual, yes.
Right. They're going
Yes.
to be out on their own, so allow your child to advocate respectfully, be able to have those conversations. And, I used to compliment you all the time. When I'd hear you talking to the kid, you're like, oh, like you're very real with them. You didn't sugarcoat things, but you allowed them to have a voice.
Yeah. Sometimes that bit me in the butt, but yes, I did. Because they are very opinionated young people, I tell you that.
I mean, but look, it's in their genes, but for real, it's in their genes.
Yes.
But yeah, it's, and I'm sure that in the moment, just hearing you say that, you say she was 6, right? When she first, imagine the number of conversations that parents have probably had with their child, where their child, like you said, in their mind, it's them telling whatever it is that they're telling their parent. And in that, however they interpreted it, their perception of that moment, it's trapped, it's like it's locked in.
Because now you're just withdrawal because you're scared to,
Right. Because, and so it's beautiful that, sad, but that she battled with that. But it's beautiful that you were able to have that conversation, like, oh no, that wasn't my intention at all. And understanding that, wow, this was her way of coming out to me. But it's like, no, and I appreciate the fact that you said that, even if it was Aunt that said it, it's like, boy, you better go over there and play. Get on the monkey bars.
Exactly.
It's on the wrong thing, so like you said, no matter what.
And at the end of the day, and this is my thought process on it, and my kids know, where I stand on a lot of things. If it's not hurting you or hurting anybody else, if you being gay is the one thing that I have to worry about in life, I'm doing good, because that's nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
Like literally. Yeah. There could be so many other things you could be out here doing.
Yes.
Exactly. That could be causing harm to other people or yourself. That's and right. You loving somebody else that is the same gender as you, I could give a care less. So whatever.
I'm sorry, but
whatever.
I'm sorry.
Like sometimes people just get caught up on the wrong things. And I know one of the conversations now recently, so of course our relationship has changed with, with Monty. She's gone through what she's gone through, but who she is now, completely different. And as far as opening up, and we're literally having, it's different now because of course I've never raised a 19-year-old woman, because that's what she is. She's growing into a young woman. Right. Yeah. So the conversations that we have now, and she's very intelligent, very like this intuitive, just, and it's more so like she told me, she said, your generation feels that we're being disrespectful because we have a voice, and you feel that we're talking back because we have a voice. And she said, it's not that, it's that we have our own opinions and we have our own voices. We're not trying to be disrespectful, but we're not just going to take what you say as this is what it is. And because I said it.
I have questions. I don't understand.
I have questions, and I want to know why it is this way. And I'm going to challenge your thinking on, why is it this way? Is it this way because someone told you it's this way? Or is it this way because it actually is this way? So that's what I'm raising. So is my brain is being stretched, on a constant, and it's both of them, because they'll both come to me with stuff. And I'm like, you know what, let me get, sometimes I get back because I'm like, whatever, But sometimes like, let's come back and talk about that, but she made a good point. And I had to actually sit back and be like, well, okay, well, excuse me, But dialogue is very important. Conversation is very important. And conversation where you're actually listening and you take the defensiveness out of it. You cannot be defensive. You have to listen. I asked my kids at one point, is there some things that I could have done better as a parent raising you? Because no parent's perfect.
Yeah.
Where you think you're doing better than your parent, you still may be doing better, but it's still not a level that should be where it's at. Every generation can only hope to be better.
That's right. Yeah.
So they've shared, with me what they felt that I could have done better. We have conversations on a regular basis. If there's something that they feel, because they're now 23 and 19, hey, we need to talk about it. We talk about it. Let's talk
Yeah.
about it,
Mhm.
So that's where we are now.
That's beautiful, Jennifer. That really is. Oh my gosh. So I think we kind of touched on it a little bit, but any additional tips that you can actually share on what a parent can watch out for, recognizing something that's typical teenage behavior, um, and it may be something deeper. I know you gave examples of money isolating, but what are some other things that a parent can look out for where it's like, whoa, like this is more than I need to look into this.
I would definitely say being more angry. The anger was a big, big, big red flag. The anger, the hanging out with different people and what those people actually look like. And I know people say that, and there's like a list of what you should look out for as far as but literally, like the people they hang out with, who they're being exposed to, and what their behaviors are, because then your child kind of begins to mirror those same behaviors.
Yeah, that's good.
Let me see. Just being defiant, not really wanting to listen to you. Kind of, because Monty is very intuitive, so it's more so she's learning what the laws are and what her rights are, and they've given them rights a little bit earlier than they should, in my opinion.
Right.
So she knew what she could and could not do, but it was also, I'm out here, I'm hanging out, I'm doing what I want to do. You really can't, but at the same time, are you going to come get me if I need
Mm-hmm.
you,
Like I'm grown, but I ain't that grown that I still don't need.
Exactly.
I'm
Exactly.
acting like I'm grown. Yes, exactly. Okay.
Exactly. Let me see. There was just so much. Just doing anything that's you would consider to be like self-harming, and it doesn't have to be anything physical, anything that's causing them harm to their body. Not eating, eating too much, sleeping more, not wanting to do their schoolwork, grades kind of crashing, or it may not even be crashing, but they're doing just enough to get by. The one big thing that I realize is their bedroom. Yeah, we joke about teenagers' rooms being messy, but there's a level of messy where I've realized the messiness also contributes to your mental health. So if your room can be messy, because my room is messy, especially after a week of work. Like the last place you're doing is your bedroom. You got everything else in the house, your bedroom, this is where I'm crashing, I'm getting up,
Right.
But with teenagers or adolescents, their room, there are layers of their room. And when I realized her mental health was not in a place where it would be, her room was chaotic. Now her room, I can walk in her room, I can see everything in her room, where it goes. It was like a light bulb switch, but that's because her mind is clear.
Yeah.
So you have to watch out for things like that as well.
Yeah. It's not necessarily a trigger, but I guess it was a trigger for me, because when you were talking about when you were depressed, you would be on the couch and you get up, use the bathroom, you be right back in that spot.
My same spot. Yes.
That's I recognize that for myself, because, and again, it's so funny, you can come in and out of a room and not really see it, and then when you do really see it, it's like, oh wow,
yeah,
all this, it's like a tornado came through here. How am I just not seeing this? And that was something that I realized, and I tell people the reason that one of the things that represent depression proofing my life is my brother Kate used to come over to the house and he was like, girl, you didn't open the curtains. I never opened my curtains. I never let light in. And the day that I did, shortly after getting out of the hospital, the day that I did, it was so emotional. It was like, wow, just opening the curtain just really made a difference. And slowly but surely over the years, I learned that my environment, so I have to work on it every single day, even now, to make sure that I'm focused on what my environment looks like. And once it starts getting, that cluttered mind. I can't think straight.
Mhm.
I forget things. It's so it really does. So thank you so much for pointing that out, because your environment definitely is huge.
Yeah. When I get up every morning, I'm opening all the blinds in the house. So when she
Okay.
comes downstairs, it's just something she doesn't have a choice, but it's just
Sunshine.
but encouraging her to open up, like you said, her blinds in her room, like letting the sunshine in. Sun has a whole lot of benefits that you wouldn't even realize.
Yeah, it really does. It really does. Yeah. So, what are some practical ways and practical things, I guess, that actually helped you and Monty's mental health? Well, that you can actually share with the viewers that after the dust settled, so to speak, services were rendered. What are the things that have actually helped maintain your own as well as Monty's well-being?
So Bonnie still sees her same therapist that she's had for 5 years. So they've kind of seen the growth and have maintained same team.
Good. That's a blessing. That's very rare too.
Absolutely. And I see it for what it is,
Yes.
and I am very grateful.
Mhm.
She has that same team. She meets with her therapist. She's now moved down to twice a month for her, which is, definitely an improvement.
Mhm.
Me and her actually go to family therapy.
Good.
So we're
Good.
talking together in regards to what she's hearing, what I'm hearing, and how we get that across to each other.
Yes,
Of course, we still bump heads because she's a 19-year-old young lady and I'm mom, and that's a bump
Yes.
head moment,
Right.
There's times when she'll let me know, hey, I'm feeling a little, depressed right now. And I know that's Q4. We need to go for a ride in the car. We need to get some fresh air. She likes to go to the park, things like that, like just get out the house. There's times when I'm a homebody. So there's times when I don't want to get out the house, I'm just fine.
Like, just leave me alone.
Yeah. So, but she's like, no, like we gotta, so just being intentional, making sure that she's okay while also, taking care of myself and understanding that if it gets too overwhelming and just not compartmentalizing so much, but actually letting go and not kind of putting everything in boxes. I've learned that too.
Yeah.
Because eventually you cannot hold all those boxes because they're all going to crash,
Yeah.
So it's like, my friend groups, going out, things like that, just doing stuff. And I've learned doing stuff for myself, Now it's a period of, okay, my kids aren't grown by any means because they're still, to me, they're babies because they're, I call them adults with training wheels right now,
Yes.
that's where we are. So it's like still carving out time that I didn't do before because my focus was always on them. Like, now it's more me time now. Now I can do things, for myself to kind of help myself, uplift too. So it's a work in progress. I will say that. It definitely is. And I think it always will be, which is fine.
Yeah. I think that when I look at the whole perspective of society and mental health, but working people focusing on being perfect puts a lot of pressure on people.
Yeah.
It really does. And I know for myself, that was one thing I never tried to be, because I always knew that it was like that'd be too much to try to keep up. Like, but that's literally what some people are going through, so it's like, not trying to be perfect, just living day to day and enjoying being in the moment and being content with what is and where you are, because there's always room for growth.
Always. My thing was also what people would think or, the judgment and after a while it was like, I don't care. I don't care because I know that there's people going through the same thing. And the more that I drop the feeling that, of being judged or the feeling like, I don't want to be a failure. I am a failure. And I started reaching out and talking to other people. I realized there were other people going through the same thing that I was going through. And they were just as quiet as me. And we're all feeling judged in our own little ways of this whole thing of parenting with everything going on, but we're all holding it inside.
Yeah.
So it's like when I started talking to her, and they're like, "Oh, you too? Like, let me tell you, you know." So it was like, okay, like, and after a while, it's just like, this is me.
Yeah.
This is who I, you know, it is what it is. Like,
Yeah.
and I know it can help other people. Like, but you have to find the people that you know you can talk to, and you know your business is not going to be. You have to find that core people, and it may not even be people you talk to every day, you know.
Yeah.
But
That's
you
good.
know their character, you know, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely that drive to have that image. Image is always a big thing in this world. And at the same time, you realize a lot of that is a facade, you know.
It is.
What
It
people are
is, right?
showing you is not really what's going on underneath.
You
You
know,
know.
I'll never forget when I was in Northern Virginia, talking to this family, and I looked at a picture on the wall, and I said, "Oh, is that you? You know, when you were little, how old were you in that picture?" And the father, you know, the little girl told me how, because she was a teenager at this point, and she told me how old she was. And the father said, "See, you can see we're a happy family." I said, "Sir, that's a moment in time.
Exactly.
You could have been you could have been yelling and cussing each other out just before and just after you snapped the picture, you know, went back, you know, to your separate corners of the house, and not even talking to each other." So
Exactly.
I don't go by what things look like. And I think because you know, I struggled with mental illness very early on, just not knowing what it was. I think that was another reason that I struggled, because it was like, my I don't have the confidence that this person does, or I don't, you know, they don't seem like they have you know, they're bothered by anything. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like I and I'm gonna be honest with you, even as far as me doing voiceover, I was never really confident. I know one of my coaches, I saw him earlier this year in Atlanta at one of the voiceover conferences, and he said, "Marian, when did you actually get it? Like, when did it click for you?" I said, "Probably just recently." You know, where, and again, I think because I was still trying to, you know, make sure that everything sounded right and make sure everything looked, and it was
Once you get
like
to that point of I don't care,
I don't,
it's real open
right.
book.
It,
It really
really
does.
does. It really does. Yeah. So, one of the last questions that I have is, uh, any type of services, and how families can actually advocate for making a real difference. um, because of course, as you know, talked about earlier, how difficult it can be. How can parents make sure that the services that they have are going to make a real change and difference for themselves, for the family, and for their individual children?
So I would say whatever agency or whatever service that you're seeking, that person or company is doing exactly what they need to do. So if your child is supposed to be seen 2 or 3 times a week,
Okay.
they need to be there 2 or 3 times a week. It does not need to be something virtual. You cannot do in-home virtually.
Mm.
You need to physically have someone there with you working. You don't have to, and part of it is judgment, because people sometimes don't want them in their home because
Yeah.
they're afraid of being judged, and that, you know,
Right.
that could
Yes.
be part of the process, because there may be something going on with you to where you
Mhm.
may need assistance, and they may be able to help you as well.
Mhm.
So it's just being confident enough to open up,
Yeah.
knowing that um, they are there, they're working with you, they're doing what they need to do. You're getting reports about what they're working at, you're seeing improvement. If
Yeah.
not, are they talking to you about what they're working on? Are they talking to you about what you can do to assist also? If you need to approach something at a different angle, what advice are they giving you? You know,
Yeah.
um, how open are they to communication as well?
Mm.
And how trusting your child. If your child is telling you, no, I don't want to do this, dig deeper into what that means. Is it
Mhm.
because they're not feeling heard? Is it because they're not getting what they need?
Yeah.
Or sometimes, you know, I learned also sometimes when that person is mirroring what you're already saying because it's something, you know, that has to be done and they don't agree with it, that may be just
Mm.
what it is, you know. But if it's
Okay.
something deeper, that's like you have to talk to your kids and you have to take the defensive part out of it. Just talk and just pay attention to what services that you're actually getting. You don't want somebody to check a box. You want there
Yes.
to be actual work getting done,
Mhm.
because it's going to help them. They're going to become an adult and be on their own at
Yeah.
some point. So you have to help them work through everything that's already, you know, in their brain, with the help of whoever you can work, you know, through it with.
Oh boy, I tell you, this has been so good. So I don't know if you've watched the show previously, but I like to end the show with a pet. Is Sky available?
No, she's my daughter actually has her holed up in the room with her, so she's not gonna come out.
Oh, oh,
That is
oh,
her. Yeah, she was made her therapy dog. So wherever
yes,
Sky is Monty. Monty is Sky. So her and Sky
good,
are taking a nap right now in the room.
good, 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 good. Okay. Um, so, and if I'm not mistaken, Sky was King was her father, right?
No,
Oh,
King was actually
siblings.
her boyfriend. Legend was her son.
Hold on.
Yes. So
Wait,
yes.
what?
So she had a litter with King, and
Okay,
that's where
I
Legend
thought.
came from. Yes.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
You say King was her
Yes.
boyfriend.
And we King was her boyfriend. So we lost King, we lost Legend because genetically there was something going on,
Yeah,
which I wish somebody would tell me before the whole pets, because this is traumatizing, must I say.
yeah.
So we have Sky, and Sky is hanging in here with the girls, you
And
know.
how old is Sky now?
Sky is 7. Yes.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Jennifer, thank you so much. I really do appreciate this. Like this has just been amazing. It really has. If there's anything that you want to share with our guest, I'm going to put up your information and some other resources. But yeah, just share whatever it is that you may want to share. Whether whatever it is, just share that while I'm putting this up on the screen. Anything, Jennifer? No. Or still
I can hear you. Can you hear
okay?
me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Were you?
I was talking, but I don't think you can hear me.
Oh no, I couldn't hear you. No, I'm sorry. No, I can hear you. Okay. Well, hold on. Well, let me go ahead and say what you were going to say, and then
Okay.
yeah, go ahead and say what you're going to say, and then
Okay.
I'll.
Look, I was talking, I was like, can you hear me? You can hear me? Can
No,
you
I
hear
couldn't
me
hear
now?
you. I'm so
Can you
sorry.
hear me now?
Can
So
you hear me now?
I will say that a lot of people are worried about what people may think, or what they're putting out for the world, or how they look, and it's not even physical. It's just more so image.
Right.
If you are struggling, or something is going on, nobody on this earth is perfect. I will promise you. In my 48 years of living, there is nobody on this earth that is perfect.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you are your own individual person. You have your own individual journey. And if you need help with that journey, don't be afraid to reach out and get help for that journey, because you deserve to be here. God does not make mistakes. I always say that.
Mm-hmm.
He does not.
Just warms my heart. It does. It does. Well, I'm going to put your information up, and of course, just to let everyone know, I shared at the beginning that Aunt Jennifer's son. Actually, I'll let you tell it. You know, his what he's doing, I guess, maybe with his music. But I'll actually put his information up on the screen. But I'll also share that information on YouTube as well, so you can connect with him.
So he has about 5 or 6 albums, I think. Now they're available on Apple Music, Tidal, Spotify, everywhere. Shameless plug. He is, very well into music. After he graduated, he's home now, back home. I finally, like Monty says, she felt like the college had her brother for 5 years, and they finally let him go.
Yes.
He went straight he has 2 bachelors, went straight into his MBA, and now he's home. So he's been, doing his music. He has R&B, he has, rap, and it's not anything that talks about guns or drugs or anything like that, because one of the things that we agreed upon was, hey, we can't rap about anything that we're not actually doing, or, we're not going to glorify anything negative.
That's right.
So, which he does not, but at the same time, he does a really good job. Of course, I'm proud. That's my baby.
Yes.
Of course, I'd say all his music is wonderful.
Yeah.
But I will challenge people to actually listen to it and, give it a try. But the song you were talking about that he did, the first song he ever did was Heart Demons.
Okay.
And that's the song that he did when his sister first started having her issues, and they were kind of their relationship even changed. So that was the song.
I do. You know what? You saying that when you said their relationship changed, I remember you telling me that it's like he kind of wrote that, like almost like his way of letting her know that he understood. Yeah. And Heart Demons.
Heart Demons, yes.
Yeah. And the one that I love is Unconditional.
Yeah, that's the song he wrote for me.
For you, yeah. Because and I'll never forget when I was listening, I was like, oh, you're like that's, and I was like, what? So, he's good.
Yeah.
He's good.
His name is BAVA, so it's Big Ant from the VA. So Big
and that's
Ant.
So how does he pronounce it? Is it BAVA or is it Bava or?
It's Bava. Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I was like, well, I was like, I don't want to introduce. I was like, I don't want to say.
Say it wrong. But people say BAVA too. People have said,
BAVA.
from the VA. So there's, but it's Bava. Yes.
Cool. And I would have loved to play it, but didn't want any issues with copyright. So, but yeah, I'll make sure that
find the title or whatever, you can find it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm going to put your information up and then we will close out. But everyone, thank you so much for joining me. Please like, share, subscribe, all of those different things so that we can continue to have honest conversations about mental health. Here is Jennifer's contact information. I'll make it bigger. Jennifer's contact information. And then this is Ant's information here. His music catalog. So yeah, be able to get all of that. And then of course, Jennifer was kind enough to share with us some local resources here in the RVA, Richmond and surrounding areas. I'll keep this up for a minute, but of course, on the replay, you can actually pause it to actually get that information. And then of course, NAMI and your voice, your life, your voice is through Boys Horizon, I believe. But yeah, just being able to more of teens access for information for teens and be able to support them. So thank you guys so much for joining me, and we'll see you next time on Depression Proof Your Life. Thanks so much for joining us on Depression Proof Your Life tonight. If this conversation stirred up heavy emotions for you, please reach out for help. Call or text 988 for 24-hour support in the U.S. If you're outside the U.S., look up your local crisis helpline. Stay connected with DPYL by following us on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook, and visit depression-prooflife.com for resources, blogs, and to share your story. Your voice may be exactly what someone else needs today. Until next time, take care of yourself, and remember, healing is possible.